but just out of curiosity, is this one that you would put with Liquid? Or
I feel a bit more comfortable with Liquid just because
Sure.
I think Soulcast was so good on this map last time. I think also, like, they were a little bit reliant on him, which does have me a little bit worried. But I think that he's been performing, again, pretty much all the way through the day. So I would give this slightly over to Liquid. But again, you know that Guild have come in and changed an awful lot. So there must be some reason for everything that's gone wrong in the last time, and hopefully they fix that.
Yeah, we wait to see the method to the madness, right? Like that's all it ever is going to be.
Yeah.
And it looks like Guild are going to be stacking up, kind of working their way over towards that B site, which not all that surprising at this point. And no real, I guess, depth to this just yet. I want to see if they try and split through. Does seem as though, for now, patience being the name of the game.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a heavy reliance here on Nuvera, but the reason is he's got his cam all the way deep in towards A main. He's got a trip up towards Dish as well. So there's no way they can actually get past all of his utility without him actually spotting it. That break, though, will pull an instant rotation. You can see already that Scream is starting to make his move back, and that control being taken by Guild actually makes a big difference to the round because they're going to have slightly, or maybe slightly less, because it still seems like Liquid have a pretty good read here.
Yeah, Liquid are in absolutely the right place to receive this. And with 30 seconds, they still have plenty of utility, whatever they were investing into at the start of this round. Scream, very patient to invest the paint shell as well. And with 25 seconds, are they turning their attention? I'm keeping my eye on the spike more than anything. Trek shows a little bit, so again, it's keeping these players present from Liquid, and we know that Nuvera left this side of the map. Okay, they're going to speed up the pace a little bit, try and get that spike down, and it's all on hoping that no one was really here to deny this, and the plum will actually come in.
That's a bold call, but I like it.
The timing, Leo, he's actually got himself in towards the back of the box. This is absolutely wild, and it's a freebie for Leo. Quick trade out for Link, though, so at least going to keep that in check, but this has changed the dynamic completely. The Link's hitting shots, okay. Beams down Coldamenta. Flash, well, Yampy does eat it, but he knows someone else is there, or he at least should know, but they swing together, and the spawn can't get there in time. Safe finds Nuvera, so Yampy's on his own to deal with two, and timing is of the essence, it's of the factor here. With all that great work coming in from Link, they really need to depend on it now. Nade comes in, and time being bought. This one's done for.
Last player standing.
Need to be some instant shots. Soulcast just doesn't have the time anymore. Trek's just going to close it. That's one of the scrappiest pistol rounds I think I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like, just brawls going on both sides of the map. A rotation that left just seconds to spare to get a plant down. But I think this almost leans back towards what we saw in map 1. Like Coldamenta making some really bold calls in some of the later rounds, or even just aggressing in on split. And he makes a decision here that, okay, I think we pulled enough of a rotation that we can actually get the spike down, and it works out for them.
It's such a blind call as well. They didn't have any, maybe an audio cue or two, but barely. And I mean, you're calling that right down on the wire. So a brave call to be made, and it does pay off for Guild with the first round on the board. Looking to buy back in, only Sheriffs coming out. Early information found for Nuvera, but the double stack towards Dish, not really going to get much action early on, but at least he has a support not too far away.
It does seem like already we're seeing safe played as a much more traditional lurk. Now, bear in mind, we have seen the nerfs obviously coming in onto the trap, so there's only going to be one now available. So they've used that section off one side of the map, and then he's almost left just to try and hold on the other. Nade through, actually going to do a decent amount of damage, especially with the stun alongside it. The problem is weaponry's still so poor.
Yeah, and with the spike going down, the time's going to be on their side, and with the smokes allowing the croft, they need some success elsewhere, and they actually find it in the form of Yampy punishing safe. So that's opened up a little bit of room, maybe going to force Guild to now be a little bit cautious of the positioning coming back in from Yampy. Still got 30 seconds on the flash, so he can't instigate much more, but it is going to at least cause a little bit of investment from Russ. Upping that slow up down, maybe someone else can help them out here, and Yampy's still going to find Coldamenta. How's he done that? Russ with a quick trade out, but Liquid are making a real round of this. They are in pretty much an advantageous situation. Leo put to task, and he can't quite do it, but it's all on Trex now. And the time's ticking, and he spots out at least one. He's got to know where they both are here. And Trex is doing everything he can. 8 more bullets to play with, and that's about it. Oh, he's going to find Soulcast the jump. Trex saving the day because Liquid started to find that fire in the belly, Tom. That side looks so dangerous.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like the value of just Trex being comfortable on this agent outweighs any other thing that you could really bring up. Just the way that he played this, every single piece of utility utilized, nade used to delay them initially, then you also had the blast pack. The problem is, though, that was, well, I'll use your word, Chico coming through for Liquid. So ultimately, they've still got a buy coming into this next round, and Guild have the decision to make of, do we actually invest more into this? And the answer is no, not really.
Yeah, there ain't much, really, is it? It's pocket lint and whatever in the drawer beneath the sink. It's not a great deal. But we've seen stranger things.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't really either. And I know it's kind of a faux pas because people really like that show, and I've just never... I think I watched like the first season, and that was about it.
I think I did exactly the same, which I think will annoy people. Well, you stop watching.
I know. How dare we? So I went to I think it's like Halloween Horror Nights, this thing in America where it's like Halloween and at like, you know, Orlando and stuff, and everyone like gets dressed up, and there was like a big haunted house of it. Didn't care. I was like, all right.
Oh, okay. Well, this lineup of players hasn't gone great, although actually,
I mean, okay, Yampy's there. That's fine. I was a bit worried if there was no like extra layer to that, because that could have been like rifles recovered, but Yampy was around. So Trex sent away with 30 HP, and that's really it. He's got the spike, I guess.
Got Showstopper as well. I'd be
you a believer?
disappointed if it was utilized. No, not in the slightest. 25 seconds. They've got a trip ready.
Okay.
He would also have to almost shoot it and then blindly run in, assuming they haven't gone anywhere else. The only thing is, Liquid are currently completely wrong.
Yeah, they've made a choice, and it is the wrong one.
10 seconds left.
But does he get the plan?
Know, though.
No, of course not. He's just playing with the intent that someone's probably in tower. They've already closed the gap. Navera, a little ahead of the others, but it's fine. Rifled up, it's still sitting pretty enough, and 3 remain. So, I mean, Guild made a round of it. If they'd maybe cost one more player, that rifle forced their investment, that could have been even nicer, but it's not terrible from Guild. I'm going to put Liquid on notice.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, as I said, there's a showstopper ready for this next round, and we've already seen how effective it has been throughout this series thus far. I think Scream, if he's going to continue to be cheeky like this was one of the things that, at least in the first, like, I think it was 5 rounds versus BBL, they really struggled to play against, was just Scream almost disrespecting them and having a lot of support. Like, they send all of this utility alongside him to just try and garner extra control, and you have to do that on Fracture. If you turtle, things go very badly wrong.
And I like the idea of just investing behind Scream. I mean, we saw what, you know, Fnatic looked like with Alpha here, just finding so much freedom on this map, just kind of unleashing, especially on the Raze. It was just gorgeous to work with and watch him play, but already Liquid getting quite proactive. I don't mind that at all. And it's not just, you know, one player doing it. As you said, there's support systems behind this, but now they're going to look towards the other side of things, and Trex already going to take space over by Dish, but the Flash going to give away the game.
Yeah, Yumpy as well, having Seekers, especially going into the late game with all of these players split across the map. You can see it's a very wide set of control currently out for Guild. Like, they are playing this as much of a default as they can. The problem is with the trap being left early, they don't really know how far the push come in. In fact, there was a cam deep in towards their spawn being utilized by Navira, so they have to be very wary of the positions they've already lost.
Bomb buddy.
Ooh, Scream. Dangerous game.
Oh.
Okay. 88 HP. He's alright. Seeker's actually coming out as well, so it does reveal at least there's still players lingering around the... Yampy. He's heard all these steps. He's got a flash to play with. This could be huge. They take it, they do, but it's a lazy clear, and Yampy gets to deliver. This is perfect work from him. 2 is great. It's going to buy time for rotations. You could not ask for a better play from the man. Yes, maybe he could have timed a bit better on the 3rd with a flash, but still, it's going to tee them up so nicely. Soulcast getting away with that naughty. It's playing over by the box. This turns around. Couldn't quite convert, but again, 9 seconds left to get that spike even close to the site. With the casualties they've had on the way, this round's over with. Guild can't make anything of this.
It's just gross. Like, having those sort of layered traps from Liquid. The fact is, I think the plan was almost setting Yumpy up to fail, and then Soulcast was going to be that sort of snake in the grass. The fact is, they get double their money. Both pay off, and, well, Guild are left looking foolish with the amount of time that was left on the clock. They almost used the Seekers as bait. They allowed them to go through in the other direction, and it really sold the idea to Liquid that there was going to be a play on the other side of the map, but they've fallen for that trap, and this is the problem. You're now going to be left with a weak economy. Liquid starting to build up some bank on their defensive side, and as I said, they're going to continue to push, continue to take aggression, so Guild are going to have to be ready for that.
Just be ready, forehead.
Scout destroyed.
All right, the hero rifle. Trex is good. See if he's this good.
They've got so many ults that are close. Yeah, the Save is actually going to get the tour de force. That's the thing, like having him with a rifle and now having the operator for safe. Like here's someone that, well, even going back to CS was a ridiculous AWPer. So give him an opportunity, and I would bet on him hitting the shot. The thing is, though, again, just look at where. Can we just swap to Yumpy, please? Can we just swap to where Yumpy currently is? Because this is
Hey, observers, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, this is not a spot you should be allowed to have on the defense.
Probably not, Tom. I think you're not wrong in this assessment. However, Yampy, of course, disagrees. He thinks that's actually exactly where he should be, and he's very happy with this. He thinks that should be very much allowed. But it is very indicative now of what the intent may be. With Yampy allowed this much freedom, they can have a little bit more faith behind having these two players stacked up as they are. They are reading this quite nicely for Liquid, going to get themselves right back in, but actually Trex ahead of the curve. Link left out just in the middle of no man's land. They carry on forward. We knew it was a hero rifle, but there's more behind this now. And Russ still going to find the second two. Russ with a shot and a half, and Guild aren't even depending on the players I expected. Trex gone and Safe not finding the shot. It's the others that are just hanging him out. And now Yampy, yeah, he may be up to no good like normal, but how much can he get done here? I don't know how much they know about Safe with that sort of force in play. And Leo watching this gun barrel shows it's comfortable in Guild. Unlikely scenario, but the timing, unfortunately, a little for Link there, caught in just no man's land.
It just seems peculiar because they basically locked them into one spot. Like there wasn't really anywhere else they could be on the map as this push came through, and yet it still didn't look like Liquid were actually ready for it. Now, sure, that wasn't the be-all and end-all of the round. You had to have some crazy shots coming out from Russ, Leo managing to trade effectively, and then obviously Yumpy at the end is just screwed. But yeah, it seems surprising that that's the round that Liquid let slip because they had everything to play with.
Yeah, it's not often you get, you know, the checklist of things you really dream of and then it goes astray. But again, we have seen that pop of potential with some of Guild's players, but it being Russ that time as well, hitting two nasty little sheriff shots is certainly going to help matters. But Scream going walkabouts, as is Yampy. So once again, getting early information. So bear that in mind, they should have a decent idea. Now, of course, there's potential for that not to be the case, but this should really confirm it already. So much presence noted. A tower position coming out from Yampy. He's not going to be able to find too much. If he can play his life, though, that'd be great. The timing's not great. Trex closing in so quickly as well. Yampy getting caught, flash in hand. Vera behind the smoke with plants down, and Guild would be happy enough already with this.
They've been able to take all the extremities. Basically what they gave up when they were going in for the initial take, they've managed to reclaim going into the after plant. They've also got themselves a showstopper if they somewhat need it. And okay, there is still on the other side a couple of ults. Maybe the Cosmic Divide can give them a way back in, but more importantly right now, time is just being bought. They need to make a move.
And yes, they forced Trex away, but there's layers. There's still 5 players to clear. There's complementary positions, and Safe's going to at least catch Nevera on the way up. Scream trying to clear towards tower. Sends in the ult, finds nothing, and Safe puts his life on the line for it. It is traded out, but again, look at the numbers. Still so favorable towards Guild. And the post plant's perfect. Another on the board for them, and that's after Liquid trying to explore so much, trying to find what Guild are up to by process of potentially elimination, and it still goes wrong.
I almost feel like Guild have started to use that against them a little bit because at least in the last round, they just played it as a 5. There wasn't like a crazy lurk. They realized they're losing map control, but the thing is for Liquid, either they push into the 5 players waiting. This is exactly what BBL did, by the way. Just basically turtled as a 5 and just waited for them to get aggressive. Either you push that stack of players, which you're probably going to lose, or you push the other extremities and you give them space to play with. And so just going back to this basic sort of hold for Guild actually worked wonderfully. And well, Liquid are now going to have to try and find a fix for that without actually having the money to do it.
And that's not going to be a pleasant affair for them by any means to try and come up with this. But I think you're right in saying that this isn't the first time we've seen them have potential issues dealing with this. So maybe they have already come up with something that can be implemented, right? Like maybe they've got a theory that can work, and it may not be in this round coming up, but the one to follow when they finally get a purchase behind them. Maybe a couple of facts to be found in this, maybe try and explore a little bit more. But I am impressed with Guild so far. It's hard to not be impressed by Trex individually. Because again, it's not, I don't want to say it's necessarily Liquid doing anything wrong, but Guild just seeming to have, you know, the kind of anti-venom, right? They're so ready with what works against what Liquid are trying to bring. And we were kind of talking about, you know, the preparation leading into this and do Guild have, you know, the time invested to watching the tapes? And it certainly looks like that's the case.
Yeah, I think as well, like just speaking a little bit more on the Trek subject, we saw Guild basically reshuffle their entire roster to allow Safe to be the duelist. So for him not to be duelist just shows how good that they also think this guy is.
Yeah, it does give you a good idea, doesn't it? Not wrong at all. And somewhat a simplistic approach, nothing too surprising at this point. But you got to be careful for Trex. He could get isolated here. Going to depend a little on backing away, not overextending. And Russ leaning a little further forward to get that wall up. But for now, again, look at the pop out. Here's to be Yampy just flying on in. He can't connect the shot. It was an ambitious attempt. Same can be said for Nevera trying to play his life out. Soulcast did find Trex in the meantime. And Coldamentus a little bit lower than he'd like, I'm sure. So Guild staying as this just pack trying to play together.
Soulcast's aim has been nasty today. Like he gets a kill and then also I think just dinks one of the players down to incredibly low HP. Rotation already there as well for Scream. He's in such an unorthodox spot as well. Like he's just playing default. It's not the normal place for anybody to stand, but it's still going to be cleared.
30 seconds left.
Controlled from Guild. They've just got to worry about Link. The only thing is the time. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to use this Rolling Thunder, but if he did, the clock gets low.
I was getting a little nervous. If Link had stuck around and or maybe just caught a bit of the timing on that, he could have punished it. Because you're right, you're
10
absolutely
seconds
right.
left.
The time was becoming that little bit of a worry in the back of my mind because things go wrong, right? A spike gets left, it gets dropped. That one
Spike
player
planted.
just, you know, it can become an issue. Now, we're going to need a little bit of that Soulcast aim to ring true
Player
once again.
standing.
Does have the rifle. So maybe able to take at least a fair fight towards Safe, and not going to be the case. Safe making it seem almost unfair, and Guild carry on forward for standing. And this is where I guess we look at what Liquid came up with in that timeout, right? Yeah, what's the concept? What's the theory? Because Guild have the opportunity now to just switch something up if they want to. If they really want to just throw him a curveball, they could do something completely out of ordinary. But again, it's been working quite nicely for Guild thus far.
Yeah, I think the issue is so far we've seen a lot of this space taken, and then I feel like Liquid sit with it. So you have Yumpy in these deep control positions. You try and hold on to Dish. You got caught out by timing. I don't think the plays they've been making have necessarily bad, but I also think they actually want to bump into Guild. I think they're hoping that they meet someone along the way, and thus far that hasn't really been the case. I would have expected maybe more of a challenge towards Tree, but I guess it's just not something they really want to throw in right now. And again, they've taken that control towards Arcade. No one there. They've taken Dish even. No one there. It's the same spots once more.
Yeah, similar scenes you're seeing at Trex. Quick to take the space as well. Going to try and facilitate the cross when necessary. Clears out as he goes. We know where the players are, but obviously they don't. He's just going to just send it into the smoke and finds nothing. Yampy wasn't far away from this, but still, the plant's going to come in. This will be a 5v5 post plant now, and we know there's plenty of ultimates online, but Yampy with a quick punish on Russ as he tried to back from the site, and he's considering those Seekers coming in. A flash comes in, doesn't find it, but Coldamenta does, catching a Link on the way back around. So again, it's Liquid taking the site, sure, but this post plant's deep, and you know why. Coldamenta has that already if needed. The divide's going to come up as well. And now this is when it gets dicey for Liquid.
Yeah, that time having to be a little bit earlier than they would have liked, and they have to be careful just because of this Cosmic Divide being down. It's risky from Trex, but he's done what was needed. He's actually going to get killed off by the Blast Pack as well. Even still, though, Guild are worried about this Cosmic Divide, having to try and fight through it, but Coldamenta just going in with the classic is going to do enough. The round closed, and Guild get their sixth.
Taken aback. That was such a brawl because of that divide. They had to put bodies on the line, and as if the classic comes down the end. This is, you know, again, this is still relatively early in this. They push themselves in. They all try and get involved in this. It's all looking good for Liquid. Then Coldamenta just gets out the classic. Best gun in the game, and Scream, well, yes, he did eventually get the frag, but by that point, way too late in the day. It was a little bit more brawly. Maybe that's what Liquid are looking for, but it still goes in Guild's favor. Still a couple of ults to be played with as well, and Liquid are getting their own back in eventually, but Yampy invested his. Soulcast as well put the divide in place. Liquid need to come up with a couple more answers, and quite quickly, I feel.
Yeah, I think firstly that like the fact that Coldamenta's Molotovs have now been super impactful in a couple of rounds, like just basically holding that piece of utility to make sure they can't get on the defuse. I also think Liquid were really unlucky, though. The one player they lost early in that retake attempt, Link, Rolling Thunder, you combine that with a Cosmic Divide, I don't see Guild getting anything from that round, because you would have been able to pressure them, you would have been able to take that control, or even just get the defuse to half. Instead, him going down was a big issue, and I think he actually was playing alone, trying to wrap around the back.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Big pickup for them in this. I mean, look at the buy coming back out. Scream rifled up, but everyone else on the Sheriff's light armor behind it. They need a round on the board. They need to do some sort of damage in this, because right now, the pace, the rounds, everything is being dictated to them. Spike going to go down, Coldamenta at the helm of this, and Russ just trying to keep a couple of angles safe. But now with the wall being broken, and Link this time going to get the punish that he wanted before. Now Leo the next on the chopping block, but not an easy shot, but he still hits at least the tag on it. So Link trying to make something out of this.
Enemy down.
That's unfortunate. That's the one rifle gone. And just as they try and utilize that Rolling Thunder, Sokas again, just hitting everything with the pistol. Flank coming through, but Trex wins the battle. An important one at that.
And the positioning's still difficult to make this cross with Rust getting that little bit more freedom, tucking himself in. He has to be found by Navera and fast, otherwise it's all but over. Navera does get him down, but now they need to make the cross, and Trex still alive. Leo's still there. And it's all about timing. They just don't have it. Solcast hit some belters this round. A couple of Liquid players did so well, but it's all for nothing again. Guild will give it up just for a second, keeping control at the very end. And again, look at that scoreline. It's starting to look deadly.
It's unfortunate because a lot of these rounds have been much closer. Like, I'm not getting the same flashbacks to Split where like the rounds were dominated from start to finish. They're able to do an awful lot, even with just pistols in play. Again, Soulcast, when he's in the right place, just lands the most ridiculous shots. But unfortunately, they're not converting any of these rounds, so they're not getting the actual punish onto Guild's economy. And they still have things in their back pocket, like a tour de force. The other issue as well is I feel like Liquid have been pressuring that north side of the map almost every single time. And every single time we've seen basically an A main take or a tree push. Now, the one time they're going to pressure the other side of the map, Coldamenta is in their head.
Coldamenta reading this really well. Oh, sure, sorry. As Mitch would say to make you feel more at home. Coldamenta. Is that better for you, Tom?
Coldamenta.
Why does he do that, man? I kind of miss him, you know?
Because you know he did... Oh, do you not know he's half Spanish?
Right. Right. Fair enough.
Wait until he says shalabi. That's
one of my favorites. No, you're not. We
need that back.
We do. If we could just get clips of that, I'd be super happy. But Yampy in the meantime has actually just called off safe. That was a little off camera, but as you saw the push out through A main. But while this has happened, Dish was taken. Guild approaching from that northern side, as you highlighted. The first time they've really approached from it and gone for it. But you can see Link bided his time, waited patiently, called off Trex. It's a big punish. Has to be forced to swing. Does get found by Yampy. Yampy doing Yampy things, and oh my god, Russ actually can't scream on that. And the trade comes out, Russ is still standing, and I don't know how. He has 3 HP in a dream, he's gonna get tracked through his spear.
Oh my god!
How's he doing this? No right to do this, and Soulcast is already being wrapped on. I do not know how Russ was alive and how he got those frags, but my god, it's lining up for Guild.
Okay, I know the Rosa ult meme was like a thing for Scream, like making the comparison. Where the hell did that ult go?
I don't know.
Like, it just disappeared into the stratosphere. Like, it looked like the freest kill of all time, and somehow he sponged it and then comes out with a multi-frag of kills. That's so unfortunate, because again, up until that point, Liquid, they get both openers. It's a 3v5. And somehow that round goes back in the other direction. They have got to be fuming.
It's an absolute madness. I'm tilted for them. That's just one of those. God damn. 8-2 though, Guild really carving a lead for themselves now. And they've actually looked super clean in how they've been approaching this. Liquid, they've tried to be proactive on extremities. They've been trying to take control. They've been switching a couple of bits up. But I mean, it's just not worked out. And you're right, Coldamenta is being a big proponent in what's working for them. And space being taken again. Look at Soulcast. But again, with all of this, you can see that slow build from Guild eyeing up that A side. They do need to clean it out carefully and cautiously. But again, the site's all theirs for the taking at this point.
You want to play? Let's play.
I think the unfortunate truth is the last round was the first time they've actually got things spot on. But they have gone for an earlier rotation here. They've gambled. They've taken some map control later into the round than they normally had, and so they're going to have them completely locked in. Nowhere else they can go, and they're just going to play around this trap. They don't even really have to break it, at least for the moment.
Okay. I do want to see the timing on this because Trex is a little further ahead and Yampy's trying to call him into. This is good. This is finally the timing working out for Liquid. Right place, right time, and Guild just can't make it work for themselves by any means. They've got problems on so many fronts already. Scream becoming a nuisance over by the door, and you can see Yampy on the wrap. Players just about everywhere. Frost is being watched. Blink only gets one for it, but it's 13 seconds. Unless they make some terrible errors, it should be okay. There's a plant coming in, and Yampy just missed an absolute sitter. What is going on here? Soulcast has been kept at bay. This is Scream and Soulcast, two of the top performing players for Liquid up until this point. Safe. Ult out though, gonna keep Soulcast humbled for only a moment. Swing comes in, but the double peak, Safe's got it. And now Scream surely noted before, and Safe's punished them. They can't catch a break here, Tom.
2v4.
Last round before the
I
switch.
think that was a 2v4.
It might have been.
I think now, like, up until this point, I think we've given a lot of excuses because I think rounds have been closed.
Sure.
I can't give anything for that one. Like, this is a moment where both players are stuck within the site. You've got Leo swinging out top and not dying. Like, the kid's nuts. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but there
That wasn't
needs
that
to be
moment
trades
either.
there. No.
Like, when Leo hits, like, nutty shots or Trex does, you know it, right? It's just like, okay, fair enough. That wasn't one of those times. Oh, man, 2-9, Liquid. Head in the hand sort of moments coming in here. This is not looking pretty. This is when you're starting to get worried. Looking a little too much like map 1 than map 2.
Well, this is less the prancing horse and more the choking horse that we've seen before in many other games, so...
Being a Liquid fan has always been difficult for anyone. If you've been a fan in, you know, CS, any game, you know what it's like to feel that heartbreak. You know it. It is what it is. We move on and we look at the buy. We look at what Liquid have left in the kitty, and any a great deal. You got Guardians galore and a Bulldog in there for good measure. They've been struggling in the buy rounds. Feels like they just can't be in the right place at the right time. They finally are. Trek's going to take the space and send it. His does work, sadly, for Scream. That wasn't the same case on the other side, but the Paint Shell does at least find Trex. At least slow the roll. And Scream just trying to play into this now, just fully unleashing, taking the fight on the wrap. And now on the other side, oh, Navera missing it, but Link's got it. I got a little worried, but it's okay. It's a 2v3, and this time, surely you've got it locked down.
Oh, it was a 2v4 just moments ago. It's the same two players in the same scenario. I'm starting to get a little bit scared. He managed to get towards that spike. Navira's still not connecting the shots, and because of that, Leo's been able to wrap around. Not the prettiest of kills, but still, they managed to turn it, and now it comes down to just one remaining. This happened again.
Unbelievable. 10-2 and Liquid. That's a tilter. That's one that gets you absolutely in the bin mentally.
Same.
Happens once, fair enough. Twice?
In back-to-back rounds. That's two 2v4s in a row that they've just lost. Like, we could be sitting here comfortably on an 8-4 half saying, okay, maybe Liquid have a chance to bring this back, but... And it's the same players. The Safe and Leo, just so good in those scenarios. I don't want to take anything away. They had to work wonders to win that clutch, but Navira just... I've never seen Navira miss that many shots before, ever.
No, like, Navera's been one of the most... I'd say one of the hottest prospects when he came into Valorant, for me. Because he picked up the game so quickly, he is sharp as all hell, he can play a multitude of agents, and he's looked good on every single one. This just feels like one of those occurrences where Liquid look cold, which happens, don't get me wrong, but Guild looks so in control in this game. Coldamenta's calling, his reads have been super sharp, but even then you add into that those 2v4 instances, right? It's so out of character to see it happen so many times. But for now, you have to sit back.
The other way around.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
I mean, how many times have you seen that? Like, Scream bails him out something mad, or, you know, Soulcast hits something nutty, Link clutching up. There's so many occurrences where you see that happening, and it's just not happening yet.
Well, that's the difference. In the game versus BBL, I can think of 2 3v5s that Soulcast won for them. And I'm not going to pin it on him that he should be doing more, but
not.
It's more of just like, when those go your way, fantastic. When they don't, well, you end up here.
It's tough to be here, and consider this. Guild chose this really to walk into. It could have been Haven earlier. It could have been their stronghold, right? And you're thinking, if you're Liquid, nice, we've got a really good veto here. You're coming in feeling pretty happy about it. And Safe, again, not pretty, but it gets the job done in that instance. Navera gone down. Spike is planted, though. At least a small win for Liquid, and Link blinded completely, comes back out of it just fine. And actually, they shut it down finally. Something goes in their favor. And a 2v4, surely not going to happen again, and it doesn't.
It's the same
There we
players.
go. It's all right. It's all right, Tom. We've been hurt in the past.
It was literally safe and Leo for the 3rd round in a row. If that had happened, I would have also needed to be subbed out for the rest of the day. You would have had your 3rd commentator for the day. And I can't.
Who are they wheeling out
have
for
been
me
able to
now,
deal
Tom?
with that.
Who would be next? Bloody hell. But I'm glad to see Liquid get something, right? Like, let's give them a moment to build back in. Give me a game on our hands, because honestly, one-sided games are kind of boring. I want to see Liquid find answers. I want to see, you know, that potential come in, because right now, yes, it's impressive to watch Guild find this form. Absolutely. Super enjoyable. But man, if they could keep doing it up against a Liquid who's going to give you a little bit more.
This is reminding me far more of Mech Na'Vi than what I was expecting from this game, because ultimately I expect a lot from both these teams. They're both 2-0. Na'Vi, on the other hand, are not within that bracket. Scream, he's already taken a hell of a lot of control. We've seen the same pinch that happened on the side of Liquid, and, well, it's an afterplant. I don't expect much of this round at all.
Nope. Just, I guess, if we look at it in a more challenging perspective, keep it clean, build back into this game. I mean, you don't want an Eco Cobra to rear its head at this point, but you'd be happy to maybe build up some confidence, feel out the game a bit, because you've just been kind of backhanded for first half.
Scream's just like, what did you say? You don't or do? You want to see? Oh, okay, I'll push the smoke. I'll push the smoke. Just for you, Lauren. I'm pushing the smoke.
Look, it's only a problem if it goes wrong. Otherwise, it's ingenious, Tom. So you know what? How dare you doubt Scream?
If man shoot the head, then big brain play.
Hey, you've worked it out. For now, we're just farming. Not going to get that much. Seeing if he was getting close to his ult, maybe could build up a couple of points towards it. And Guild opting to pretty much give up this round. Perfectly fine. Opt in towards the next. And look, we get, well, they get 4 standing. So again, it's perfectly fine at this point. Bear in mind, Scream was on that site, clearing it pretty much instantly.
I like the fact that Scream has then gone, I died, so I must buy a rifle. It's like, I'm not sure that was exactly what was the plan, but he's ended up with a stronger purchase. The issue is they're still investing more than you would like to see. I think that's mainly because Liquid realized the position they're in. Like, you are unlikely to just drag this back off losing and going 11-4 and then trying to win all the remaining rounds. Like, it's just unlikely. So they're playing a bit of a gamble in this one.
Gamba bad is what I've learned from live stream fails. So you love a meme or two, don't you, Tom?
do it responsibly, you know.
That's the one. That's what they say. So eyes this round turn towards Scream and Yampy, the 2 rifles they're going to bring across this. Otherwise, this would be a little bit more of a light bonus, but it's got intent behind it now. Of course, on the other side, a decent enough buy, rifles galore, a couple of bits of light armor here and there, but it's not the end of the world. But patience being shown.
They've still taken some deeper control. That almost double duelist spot currently within A main is a little bit terrifying, although the lurk of Navira might disrupt that a little bit. On the other side of things, they're having to break this wall. This is something that we've seen Rust do quite regularly, is almost just place this in a position to give you information. Let you know that they either have or haven't taken that control back, and it means that Liquid are actually wasting a fair amount of time just trying to get that control.
30 seconds left.
Let me go back around, and this is going to be Trex. This could be Safe to try and deal with this site hit coming through, and it looks like Safe's almost... Oh, he just turned away from that. I thought he was going to get caught out, but no, he's just fine. Trex now waiting for the hit to come in, and you can see it now working its way through. Scream just dives on him. Where's the trade? There is no trade. Leo's still standing. 3 kills for Leo, and Trex is there just to steal it. The rifles had nothing to say in this round. I thought they'd find a little bit of form, something, some sort of footing. They barely made a point of damage. Safe looking a little bit tagged up, but that's about it. Guild, clean as you like, and Navera, well, couldn't even find a target at the end.
I was about to say, might as well just go down and then bring something. I guess it would be reinvestment into shields and whatever anyway, so it's not that much of a difference. That shot from Leo, from his POV, I imagine is nasty. Just because of how far he would have had to flick and then flick back to kill the second. Like, Scream did his job. The only role for him there was take some space, allow the rest of the team to sort of crawl out, and instead, Leo's just too fast. And again, like we talk about when he is on, it's incredible. A lot of the rounds he hasn't had to be.
Yeah, Leo's one of those players, right? It's like you see that potential within him. Every now and then you get a glimpse of that game that he can bring, and it's just like, oh my god, he's something different. Yampy gonna start clearing those first bits of protocol towards A main, gonna at least force away safe for now. Flash to follow. Doesn't quite catch anyone with it, so not gonna note how close by Trex was, but as said, for now, Spike coming all the way back over here.
Interesting. I think Screams actually opted to take that Marshall away. Oh no, I know the man is called the Headshot Machine, but he's never been known for his scopes. So intriguing the decision behind that. I suppose the strat book. Maybe that's something that has been whispered in his ear. No scope, please. But they are going to start their execution.
Yep, and he was trying. It went quite poorly. First man in, happy to just hope for a trade, and Russ has just dipped out. He's like, guys, it was just Scream. I don't know what's happened. Oh no, the rest are here. The Spike, not yet to go down either. Something disrupted that, at least in this moment, and Yampy's going to find Trex. Quinn comes out, and Russ, right place, right time. The perfect freeze turns on the dime, and Soulcast gets backhanded. It's going to be 12 now for Guild. And just Liquid, where there was a glimpse, man. There was a glimpse, Tom. There was like, oh, okay, maybe there's a little life in them.
I think we're seeing a lot of different things here. Like Russ's comfort level on this agent and the prior is clearly huge. I also am not really sure. Like you have a flank coming in here. I guess they were trying to run towards him almost as a disruption, but that's just a spot that's not cleared at all. I also think trying to entry with a Marshall blast packing into the site is one of the most mental things I've ever seen. Like you'd have been better off having a frenzy.
It did seem a little ambitious. You know, it's like there's method to it, but it was mostly madness. That though was a shot. Finally, Nevera needs to warm up. Couldn't quite find Coldament there. So again, trades it out essentially at this point. And Russ again just better equipped. It's gonna be Liquid with only 2 left here. Link and Soulcast. What you got for us? If anything, apart from eating the flashes, Link now blinded, and Russ is on the other side. Tom, this is looking all but over.
Spike down.
And I've got to say, Liquid looking a little flat for my taste on this map. And Guild just firmly in control on a map I just did not expect it to be on.
Yeah, especially considering these are the maps that Liquid have been happy to play throughout the tournament so far. Ones that they won last week, in fact, and now coming back onto their own map choice and the third in the series and getting basically destroyed by Guild. Now left onto Soulcast. His aim has been crispy, but 40 seconds, 4 kills to find, and he's just hoping that he can maybe drag someone away here.
I mean, you got to give it a go, right? Play it out to your best capability. And he's got so many players, all going to try and swing. He's going to punish one, but it's all but one. It doesn't really matter. As Guild closing down on, what, 13-4. Tom, this has been a bit of a clinic, if I'm honest, because we looked at this veto at the very start of the day, and obviously when you see Guild and you see, you know, a good tier 1 team against them, you expect certain maps to come into effect. It wasn't the case, and they actually looked fantastic.
Yeah, weirdly, it's the maps that they didn't choose that were the ones that look fantastic. Yeah. So maybe, I guess they can stick to what they know. And actually for Guild, I think that's actually a better sign. Okay, sure, their Icebox, it still has some teething issues. There's some things they need to work on. But the fact they look fantastic on Split, a map which I don't think we've seen from them this season, and now they go into Fracture, a map which they really struggled on and clearly fixed all of their problems. Remember, they literally lost this map to Big last week because Musashi just destroyed them. They changed their composition to one of comfort, and they dominate.
Yeah, this is a great look for Guild. I think a lot of us got a little nervous seeing that, you know, one of the results, you know, beating Mech, looking a little rusty in another way, but then this is a huge kind of, I guess, course correction of putting us back into a lot of faith, but we have to decide the player of the match, and that's where we're asking you guys at home. Who stood out to you? Who was your player to really make things work for Guild? Tom, any thoughts on who you think was your player of the match?
I'd probably lean it over to Trex. I think Leo was fantastic, but I just think that Trex doing so well in those entries, like playing so aggressively and taking them space along the way, was really impressive, especially considering he's recently switched back into that duelist role. It looks like he never left.
Well, it's been a great day for Guild fans everywhere. That was certainly a result you'll be happy with. Liquid, well, there's still more time. They're still towards the top of their group, so don't be too worried just yet. However, we have a whole new game to come up today, so don't go too far away. We'll be back after the break. Dare to challenge yourself.